Hey everyone! So 2 days ago we came out and we were showing you guys Lighthouse here during Tropical Storm Eta, and tonight, exactly 2 days later, here is the parking lot. It is filled with cars, not with water, and we are gonna go and check out the beach, and we're gonna see what it looks like now that the storm has gone away. You can see that we've got beautiful skies and the sun is getting ready to set behind us. So we're gonna head out to the beach and see what's going on. So they still have the access closed, probably because the sand is covering most of the ramp up there. So we're gonna see how the beach looks over here. And the sand is really high. I'm gonna show you guys really quick so you can see like these posts that are usually about 3 feet high, and just using that as a gauge, you can see like how short they start to get here because the sand has been pushed up so far. This mat right here is completely covered. You can't even see it. It's covered with all the sand. So here is the beach, a much different view than we had 2 days ago, and the beach is just packed with people. Look at all the people here enjoying the beautiful sunset, and the water is once again very calm. So we're gonna take a look and do some virtual shelling and see what we have. Look how calm the water is. So just past low tide here. So we can already see we have a really high rock line here, we have one here, we have one there, and then we have one at the water's edge. So you definitely here, you can see them a little bit better. At that view. So we're gonna go check it out and see what we have. Now I personally love when storms come in because it leaves a bunch of, like, I call it just beach garbage, sea trash, is what I call it, just stuff, sea stuff. And a lot of times that's where you'll find crab shells, you'll find sea whips, you'll find pieces of driftwood like this right here. I love these pieces of driftwood with like all the holes in them. They're really fun. You'll find mermaid purses and egg casings and all the fun other treasures other than just seashells that we look for on the beach. So that's always really fun to look through all of the seaweed and everything like that. Let's see if we see anything down here. Oops, I have my shell bag falling on my head. Let's see if we can find anything fun. Oh look, here's a little paper fig. Look how cute, and it's perfect too. Somehow made it through the storm without a crack. Super cute. So things like that, like, you know, you just have to kind of get down and look, because honestly, like, if I wasn't getting down really low, I probably wouldn't have even seen that. So there's lots of places for you to look. Up here, you can look here, you can look here. I'm gonna go down really quick, and you even have 2 rock lines here too. And I'm gonna check out the break line really quick, just because the tide is gonna be coming in, and I'm gonna lose my visibility. So I just wanna come out and just check it out. Water's a little chilly. Woo! And see if we have anything fun rolling around. Did I just see a little wormy? A little worm snail? I thought I just saw one. Sometimes I see it for a hot second and then, oh, there it is. There it is. Yep, little one right here. I love those worm shells. They're so fun. So we have lots of clarity here. Surprising, because, you know, just the other day we had this storm come through and you'd think everything would be stirred up, but it gets really calm really quickly, which is good. You can see out here in the water, it's pretty clear. considering. I'll give you guys a quick view. It's just so pretty. Look how pretty the sunset is. This is a good time where we would find some dolphins playing around out here. So if I happen to see any, I will try to bring the camera up so you guys can watch too. But you guys can see how clear it is. Let's see if there's anything that kind of catches my eye in the brake line. And then if not, sometimes, you know, sometimes there's a ton of stuff in the brake line and I'll be like, oh my gosh, there's like a pocket of shells. And then other times, you know, there's not a whole lot, so I decide to go up on the beach instead. Here's a cute little drill right here. I know a lot of you have been messaging me asking me, what does the beach look like after the storm? So this will be great for you guys to see what it looks like and what kind of shells rolled in. Oh, so we have these jellyfish too. There's another one over here. So these jellyfish, let me try to get this one rinsed off the top. Maybe a wave will come in. Let's see if I can get a wave to come in. Anyway, these jellyfish are moon jellies. I'm trying to get the sand off it so you guys can see. They have kind of a four-leaf clover pattern and they get really big. They get ginormous. And out of all the species of jellyfish, they are one of the least painful stings, I guess you could say. They do sting, but they don't penetrate the skin like some other species of jellyfish do. So one thing to know about jellyfish is that they can sting you even after they die. So even if they're washed up on the beach and the jellyfish is no longer alive, it can still sting you. So when in doubt, don't touch it. The tentacles can still sting you even if they're not attached to the jellyfish. Here's another one right here. So even if, like, just say you like flip this one back in the water, oh, this one you can kind of see the four-leaf clover pattern a little bit better here. You guys can kind of see it. There in the middle, you've got the 2 and the 2. But if the tentacles come off on like a piece of shell or something, they can still actually sting you. So a lot of the time that's why people will go in the water and they might not like see a jellyfish, but they'll get stung and they won't understand why it's stinging and they didn't see anything, and it could just be the tentacles floating around. This is kind of cool. This is one of those little sea creatures, those little anemones that are buried in the sand. You guys remember when I showed you that, hold on, let me come over here. I want to drop my phone. They're buried in the sand and then they kind of squirt water up. So this is what they look like when they are not buried in the sand. Let me rinse them off and get them right side up. So this is the part that is buried in the sand, and then this is the little part right here that will squirt out water. So I'm just hanging on to some shells there. So we'll put him back in the water and let him live. But yeah, it's kind of cool, excuse me, to see them out of the water, because you usually just see them buried in the sand and you don't really get to see what they fully look like. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to try and see if we have any. Here's a little shark eyes, a little bit beat up there. And I'm just kind of walking kind of rather briskly because the bugs are coming out and the sun is going down, and I kind of want to make it around the point to show you guys and see what the beach erosion is doing. Because if you guys remember the beach erosion video, there's not a whole lot of beach around Lighthouse Point up here. So I'd like to go and check it out and see what happened with the storm. But lots of shells to look through here. If you're coming to the island and you want to know if there's shells, yes, there's a ton of shells. You've got to take your time and look through. Here's a really pretty Indian gold right here, or slipper shell, whichever you prefer to call it. That one's really pretty. And up here, there's a little conch here. Got a little button shell here. And we've got a bubble shell here. So there's lots of shells to be found. You just kind of have to pick a spot and get down and look, because they're definitely there. Here's another big jellyfish. These are getting pretty big. You just kind of have to be careful where you're walking. Here's another little bubble shell right here. There's a pretty piece of a coquina too. There. And so here we are getting around the point at Lighthouse. So we're gonna go check out and see what is around there. Look at this really pretty orange jingle shell. I know a lot of you said that that's one of your common shells that you like, one of your favorite common shells to pick up, and jingle shells are so pretty, and I don't pick up enough of them. I should, but that's a really pretty one. And speaking of orange, I see in the background here, look at this really pretty orange scallop just sitting here. Look how beautiful this scallop is. We love orange scallops. We usually find a lot more orange scallops on the west end. So it's a little bit unusual to find a lot of them on the east end here, but we do still find them. But I'm always looking for color that catches my eye. There's a little turbo right here. It's really fun. And a lot of the shells after a storm too, you have to remember, because they've been tossed around in the waves, so a lot of them will be broken and have some damage or be cracked, unfortunately. Let's just come up here really quick. I kind of want to check out all of this stuff and see. Ooh, the bugs are bad tonight. Goodness. They are out in full force. All these delicious humans walking the beach, they're having a feast. And no, I've yet to find anything that works on no-see-ums. A couple of people have recommended a couple things for me to try that I haven't had a chance to try yet, but I will definitely keep you guys posted on that. Alright, I thought I just saw a whelk and then I lost it because I was walking too fast trying to get around the point. There it is right here. Look at this little nubby whelk right there. I was trying to walk rather quickly to try to get, here's a piece of a tulip, around the point, and of course this is like the story of my life, right? Like, I'm trying to walk quickly and shell at the same time. I know a lot of you do that too. You know, you're trying to, like, especially when you have to go, you're like, wait, hold on, I want to like shell on my way back to the car. And then you like end up taking so long to get there because you're trying to shell. And you're trying to get to where you're going. Let's see, I'm kind of up here in the storm junk, trying to see if I find anything. I'm not really looking for shells so much. I'm kind of trying to see if there's anything else kind of unique, treasure-like up here that we can find that's fun. Oh, and I just saw a dolphin. Hold on, let's see if I can see. Oh, here's a little barnacle on the top. You see him up there? It's super cute. All right, let's see if I can give you guys footage of the dolphin. I know it looks really dark, but it's just because the sun is setting. It's not like stormy or anything. So I'm gonna hold the camera here as I walk, and we're gonna see if we can see where that little dolphin went. See if he pops up anywhere. This is always a great time of the evening for dolphin activity at sunset when the water is nice and calm like this. They like to come out for feeding and for playing, and plus there's a tide change going on right now, so I will keep my eye open and see if I can see where he went. They go under and then they come, they pop up somewhere else. Here's a crab trap that washed in. It's empty. Sometimes there'll be crabs in there still. So you guys can see, here's Lighthouse. So the storm actually did some good for Lighthouse here and pushed up some sand. If you can remember, right here is where I was. I'm gonna come up here. Right here is where I was filming the beach erosion video, if you guys can remember that. And we were right here in front of Lighthouse, right here. And this is where that big shelf was. Do you guys remember that? So this is where that was. And all of the beach was pretty much gone, and we were all looking under all of the branches and the root systems for shells. You can kind of see remnants of, come up here, right here where it was. You guys see, like, here's kind of where like that wall was. You guys see that? So that is pretty cool. Right here at Lighthouse, and I'll turn around and you can see how much beach is now here. And there's tons of shells up here, by the way. I mean, holy moly, if you're in a shell, I'd bring like a blanket, like a big thick beach blanket, and I would just sit here in the shells and I would just look. And I would just sit here and look, and I would find pretty scallops, and I would find slipper shells. There's a little piece of a tulip. Oh my gosh. Cockle shell. I mean, I would just literally sit here. It's a little conch. Another piece of a tulip. So the tulips are here. I would just sit here and shell all of this, because this is like one ginormous shell pile right here. Oh, here's a tulip. Found a tulip. Look at that. Put that one in my shell bag. This is what I would do. I would just sit right here. Would just dig around. So clearly this is where the storm washed up. Here's a kitten paw. A ton of shells. And if you have like a digger or a scooper, that would be probably really helpful so you don't tear up your hand. Oh my gosh, there's so many shells. Here's a seraph right here. And here's a little murex. Let me get in here. Cute little murex. Look at that. Oh my gosh, there's so many shells right here. This ginormous pile. Look at all of the shells. The Lighthouse, definitely a hot spot. I would for sure spend time digging in this, because I can tell you, like, here's a piece of a true. So remember, when there's pieces, you know that there's whole ones around. Here's a piece of a nice size horse conch. Little whelk here. There's so many shells. There's scallops. Lots of the common shells that we were talking about in previous episodes. So definitely, if you're around or coming down, Lighthouse is going to be a spot to check out for sure, because there are definitely going to be some fun. Here's one of the little like sea trees. Sea tree on a shell. There's definitely some good stuff in here. I'm running out of light, but I can tell you that there are definitely some fun things to be found in all of this. And here's some more of just, so like this line right here of this kind of like, you know, beach trash type stuff, seaweed, whatever. That's always a place that I love to go and just check out and see if there's any fun like little crab shells or anything. Nice piece of driftwood there too. After storms is when you'll find, like we don't get a lot of driftwood here, so after storms the people that are driftwood seekers come out. Here's a nice piece of driftwood, and they'll be looking for fun pieces of driftwood. And here's the little dead fish that didn't make it, that washed up. And always just make sure, you know, where you're walking to. After storms, it's not uncommon for there to be dead critters, fish bones, that type of thing. So you just want to be really careful about where you're walking. I highly recommend, ooh, this is a really cool piece of driftwood. Oh, I think it's attached to a tree, maybe. You want to, I highly recommend that you wear beach shoes, because you want to make sure that you're just being careful where you walk, and that you're not stepping on anything that's gonna poke through your foot. I'm losing my light and I want to keep shelling. This big wad of tree branches here. And I hope you guys can kind of at least see all the shells, because there's so many shells. But that at least gives you guys can see Lighthouse here, and then how much beach is left. So we've got a ton of beach. It's kind of back to the way that it was, which is great. It looks fantastic, and I'm excited to come back out here and shell when I've got a little bit more light to see. But yeah, super fun. I love after storm shelling. You never know what you're gonna find. You never know what kind of treasures you're gonna find on the beach, whether it be shells or whether it be different types of beach treasures. Scallop here. Scallop. And here's a little, some type of piece of a bone. So remember, we find bones a lot on the beach. People will ask, you know, what is that? And a lot of the time it's bait from crab traps. So they put appendages from usually like pig into the crab trap as bait meat for the crabs, and so the crabs eat off the meat, and then the bones fall out of the trap and wash up. So when you find bones, they're not fossils, they're just bones. Just bones. It was a cute little jewelry box. Look at the little spines on that. Oh, that one's great. And here's a really nice Murex too. Make sure nobody's in there. Pretty Murex. Finding some fun stuff here. Pretty scallop. That barnacle will come off. That'll be really pretty. There's a piece of a whelk. I don't know if it is broken. We're finally getting a little breeze now, which is welcomed. So the mosquitoes and the no-see-ums can't get me. Another fun piece of driftwood here. Show you guys this block of pelicans. So pretty, aren't they? So I hope you guys enjoyed this little view of Lighthouse Point post-storm, post-Tropical Storm Eta. And if you're coming down to visit, this is a great time. Don't ever think that there's not shells. There's always shells, you guys. You just have to find where the shells are. They might be here at Lighthouse, they might be on the west end, they might be at Blind Pass, they might be right in front of your condo, but they might be in the water, right? So you just have to know where to look. And you know, one of the things that I try to do is I try to teach you different methods of shelling, different areas to shell. So when you come here on vacation or you go to a beach on a trip, you are able to say, you know, I know different places to look. I understand what rack lines are. I understand how to look for the little coffee grounds and the black stuff for tinies. I understand how to look in a break line. I know, you know, if I go to a sandbar, what I'm looking for, how to spot things that are sticking up in the sand, how to look in beach trash for different treasures other than shells. I want to teach you guys all those things because when you come down on vacation, I want you guys to have a successful shelling trip. Or if you take a shell tour, you know, you go to one of these islands, I want you guys to be able to be successful and find all kinds of fun things because you know the techniques to use to search for shells. So hopefully this was kind of interesting for you guys to see. Kind of during the storm. We've seen a lot pre-storm. We've done a lot of videos here at Lighthouse, but you were able to see during the hurricane or the tropical storm, and then what it looks like after. So thank you guys so much for joining me. As always, I appreciate your support so much. Don't forget to share the Virtual Shelling Network with your shelling friends. Let them know that it is here for them. If they can't get to the beach, if they are landlocked or maybe they have a health condition and they just can't get to the beach and shell, this is a great option for them to have an experience shelling right from the comfort of their home, no matter where they are. So thank you guys again so much, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye!